So just to say the usual things, that you don't need to always look at the screen if you find that tiring. The audio should be enough to guide you. And also don't do anything that feels uncomfortable, because a really big thing of what I want to help with in these classes is to help you to have your own integrity and your own sovereignty, so that you are learning to listen into your own inner voice and to follow that as your main guidance, not just on the mat, but off the mat too. So we're starting the new year by talking about chakras. And for January, I'm going to be focusing on the root chakra, Muladhara chakra, which I think has huge relevance in these times, because I believe, and certainly my teacher's always saying this, that the most important thing we can do for our health and wellness is to be grounded. Particularly if there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, we can maybe ignore that as much as we can and come back to ourselves. So the root chakra is all about being embodied and feeling safe and secure within us. I'm just going to give a short explanation of the chakras before we start, because I want to put them in context. And some of you might have done work on chakras with me before, or you might know something about them. But I think it's really helpful because it's such a big part of yogic philosophy. So our chakras are our energy centers. There's 7 main ones, but they are a lot more than just 7, but I will just be focusing on 7. And they're aligned along the spine, and they all relate to spiritual, emotional, and physical health. They take in prana, or universal life force energy, by something called nadis, which are energy channels. I don't want to get too heavy into the philosophy, but the main nadi is called sushumna, which runs along the spine, and that's how it draws in energy from the universe. And there are many ways that we take in energy, such as through sunshine, food, air, water. But it's considered that the way we breathe is the most important way that we bring in our energy. And the chakras move from the gross to the subtle. So the gross is like that heavier, denser chakras, which we need for our foundation. So today we're going to be looking at Muladhara, the base chakra. Then in February, Swadhisthana, which is around the sacral area, which is, they all have slightly different themes. And then we've come up to Manipura, which is all about digestion, not just of food, but of emotions and of life. Then Anahata at the heart, which is about love, self-compassion. Throat chakra, very important for speaking our truth. Third eye, and the crown. And I'll be explaining more about these as we move through 2026. But as we work through them, we raise our vibration and we bring back balance. So as I just said, the lower chakras are very important, certainly the first 3, because they are our foundation. Now, Muladhara at the base, there's several chants associated with it. I'm going to use one that you're very familiar with today, but I'd just like to start with the seed mantra. So it has seed, meaning this is the mantra which kind of helps to activate it, and it's LAM. So I'd like you just to sit comfortably and take a moment to collect yourself and welcome yourself. And just take a little bit of time to do this check-in. How am I? And question I want to ask you, a reflective question, is, am I in my body? Does my body feel safe? Now, when I say a reflective question, it doesn't mean there has to be an answer. It doesn't matter if the answer is no. These are just something for you to reflect on. And then we're going to chant this call and response, lum, lum, lum. So I'll chant to you, and then if you like, you chant back. And if you don't want to chant, that's fine too. And it might be helpful, just take the back of your hands around your mula at the back base of the spine, just so you're actually connecting with this chakra. Lam, lam, lam. Lam, lam, lam. Lam, lam, lam. And then just see how the mantra has affected you. And as you're sitting, just become aware of your hips and your buttocks and that whole area. And then imagine a taproot going down from your perineum down into the earth below. So although you might not be sitting on the earth, at some point the earth is below your building, whatever you're sitting in. So just visualize this taproot going down. And as you breathe in energy up into that Muladhara area. And as you breathe out, just sense that you're breathing out anything you no longer want to hold on to, particularly anything from 2025. It's time to let go of all that as we're moving into the year of the fire horse. We've shed our skin, so just breathe it out on the exhalation. And while you do that, I suggest with your eyes closed, I'm just going to read out a little bit more about Muladhara. We're going to be covering it more next week as well. But it's this sense of being grounded, and it's also about how much trust and faith we have. And now, interestingly, in my notes, I've got how much trust and faith we have in the world. Well, personally, I have lots of trust and faith in nature, but not in our current political structures. But importantly, I do have trust and faith in my body and myself and my senses. And I know that when we're ill, you know, cancer, ME, long COVID, whatever you might have, that can shake that trust. But it's about coming back and knowing intrinsically, deep inside, it's okay. And as we work through this morning, we're going to work on that sense of, I am okay in my body. So it's really, if I had one word to describe this chakra, it's stability, being stable. And also in my notes, it's saying if this is balanced, we have health in all our chakras. And there's vitality. If the energy is low in this chakra, and I'm just going to read you out some of the symptoms so that you will know if this applies to you, we may have disassociation, so we don't feel we're in our body, or we don't feel we're safe in our body. And also other signs that this chakra is not in balance are fear, insomnia, restlessness, anxiety, not being present, and being unfocused. So with that said, we're now going to do a bit more chanting and breathing, and then we'll come to lying. So I'd like you now to take your hands to Namaste at the heart. And as much as you can, feel that you're dropping your awareness into your heart. And the chant we're going to do now is Om Lam Swaha. So I'll demonstrate it. And then if you'd like to join in, please do. So I'm going to inhale and open my arms wide, drawing the shoulder blades together. And then I'm going to chant back to the heart. Om Lam Swaha. Now, as you do this, take an extra breath if you need to. And please do this in your own pitch, because my voice is quite deep, so do what feels comfortable for you. I'll do it a couple of times with you, and then you do it 3 more times on your own, or rest out if you need to. So we're going to inhale, opening the arms wide. Om Lam Swaha. Inhale out, shoulder blades together. Om Lam Swaha. Inhale out. Om Lam Swaha. And then twice more in your own breathing rhythm, or rest out. And when you come to rest, just take your hands to your knees. When you've finished, either take your hands to your knees or rest them again on the mula, backs of the hands on the base of the spine, if that's comfortable for you. And with your eyes closed, I'd just like you to breathe in an affirmation. So as you inhale through the nose, if you can, you breathe in, I am. And as you breathe out here, I am here. So just do that a few times in your own breathing rhythm. And then just releasing that for a moment or two. Just ask yourself another reflective question. Do I feel safe in my body, and can I stay present in my body? And again, it doesn't matter if the answer is no, but just do that as an exploration with curiosity and with compassion. And then we're just going to do a very stabilizing breathing pattern before we come to lying. We're going to start hand on the heart hand, just below the navel, just to remind us, because we might have been anxious or hyperventilating throughout the Christmas period. So it's just bringing back this stability by how we breathe. So just start by observing your breath, without criticism, without judgment, just observing it. And then as you watch your breath, you might notice that it automatically begins to slow down. If you can, breathe through your nose. And if you can, direct the breath into the lower hand. So the upper hand, although there might be some movement there, the breath is mainly from the diaphragm. So the lower hand moves gently as you inhale, and then comes back as you exhale. And then this very stabilizing pranayama that we're going to start the new year with is what's known as samana breathing, which is equal breathing, or in scientific terms, it's called the coherent breath. And there's loads and loads of research done on how this helps our energy, but in terms of the chakras and our subtle energy, it's very stabilizing. And all I'd like you to do is to make your inhalation and your exhalation the same length. So you can count if you like. So you might like to count 3 in and 3 out, or 4 in and 4 out. But just have an even ratio. And then you can release your hands back, return to normal breathing, but just remember that during the week, particularly before you go to bed, that's a really good breathing technique to employ, which is even inhalation and even exhalation. So just take a moment or two to observe if the mantra, the chanting, the breathing has had an effect on you. Observing how the mind is, observing how the body is. And then bring your awareness again to the base of the spine and the buttocks and also the feet. And just explore those 3 points, the base of the spine, the buttocks and the feet. Keep your awareness there, or pick one of those 3 points and just focus on it. And then, if you would like, please come down to a comfortable lying position. So as you lie, just start maybe with your knees bent to support the back. In a minute, we can lengthen out the legs and experiment where you like the arms. So classically, the arms are away from the body with the palms turned up, just to help the shoulders externally rotate. But if you have difficulty with your shoulders and you prefer to have the palms down, that's okay. And just take a moment or two to explore how your back is. And again, make this exploration without judgment. Make it something that's curious and kind. Just let your awareness drift up and down the spine. And then feel the weight of your head and the weight of your body. If your knees are bent, have the heels a bit closer to your buttocks. You can touch the knees together if you find that more helpful. And just really sense the weight of your body. And now visualize that you are being cradled by the earth. And again, think of this taproot going down through your tailbone, down, down, down into the earth, bringing up nourishment into your body on the inhalation. And then also see other roots spreading down from your buttocks down into the earth. But they're like these fibrous spider roots that spread and spread to give you stability. So the taproot is going down and giving you nourishment. The more fibrous spreading roots are giving you stability. And just have a sense of being cradled by the earth and held in safety. And while you are lying, I just want to share with you that I've recently been on a yoga retreat over the new year. And wonderful teacher, Simon Lowe, but he talked a lot about how astrology is saying that the times ahead are going to be difficult. He said this 2 or 3 times and we were all complaining and saying, you know, we're on a yoga retreat, we don't need to hear that. But I just want to say, because I then took a yoga class, and I shared this and I'd like to share it with you, that whenever things are challenging, particularly personally, there's 3 wonderful tools that yoga always offers. And the first one is to be as present as we can, and remembering that the future is just a thought. It's not here, and that now we're okay. And to stay as present as we can, the tools are to use being in the body and staying with our breath. And then the second tool for these times is to be grounded, which is what we're going to be working through in January, staying grounded, staying in our body, this feeling of stability. And then the last tool, which may or may not mean anything to you, it's to know what our true identity is. So that is that I am not the thoughts, I am not my emotions, and I'm not the changing circumstances, because things are always changing. But there's something in me which is ever present and stable and luminous. When the mind becomes quiet, I begin to know this. And this is something we can see towards the end of a yoga session when we become quiet. So have a sense now of exploring gravity and being held by gravity. We're going to do a tiny bit of movements now, nothing too much. So just take one knee, then the other into the belly and hold around the knees or under the knees, wherever is comfortable. And we're going to move with the breath. As you do this, again, I'd like you to focus on this area at the base of the spine. So inhale and let the knees float away from you as the elbows straighten. And then as we exhale, you can chant Om Lam Swaha, and 3 to 5 times in your own breathing rhythm. On the exhale, knees coming towards you. Om Lam Swaha. And when you've finished, drop the feet to the floor with the knees still bent and take the arms out beside you like a cross. And you're going to, actually I'm going to talk you through this. We're going to turn the left palm down and have the right palm up. Now take an in-breath and take your knees over to the right and roll the head to the left. And with that palm that's down, the left palm down, just slightly externally rotate it, just to take the little finger into the room a little bit more. And then breathe in, release the palm and center the head and knees. On your next in-breath, the knees and head go over to the other side. So Jill, I know you're watching. So if my hand's like that, I'm just, can you see how I'm externally rotating the shoulder like that? Yeah. So the side that the knees are pointing to, you're just externally rotating your shoulder to take the palm even further over. And then inhale and center. And if you can't get the palm movement, don't worry, because probably I should have actually demonstrated it physically on the screen. So we might do that next week. So we'll just work into the twist. So actually, let's forget the palms. We're going to do that next week. So keep the palms up or down. And you inhale to center the head and the knees. And you exhale as the knees and the head go in opposite directions. Most important thing is to keep your shoulders connected with your mat or the floor. And if the knees don't want to go all the way down, that's absolutely fine. Just take them to wherever is comfortable. Remember to listen to your body and to rest out if you need to. You don't have to wait for me to tell you to stop. It's your body that's in charge, not me. So really have this sense of listening in and also being kind and compassionate to what feels right for you today. And then when you've moved an even number of times on both sides, bring the knees into the chest and just have a rock from side to side. And then drop the feet to the mat. Open out the knees to the side and bring the soles of the feet together. If that's comfortable for you, if you need to put padding under your knees, do so. But we're just working on opening out this groin area. Again, bring your focus to your lower back. And you can place your hands on your belly or beside you, or if you want a more dynamic stretch, you can lift the arms over and above your head. Again, listen to your body and just do what feels right for you. Again, having this sense of being connected with your body, this sense of stability and nourishment as you breathe in. So breathe in a sense of nourishment, exhale and let go. If your arms are over your head, you've really got a lovely free front body and rib cage and diaphragm. So just really feel the sense of the breath, helping the belly to slightly raise on the inhale and drop back on the exhalation. It's not deep breathing, it's low breathing. Breathing through the nose. Anytime you want to come out of the posture, particularly if it's too strong on your pelvis, just gently bring the knees together and massage into the groin and then stretch out the legs. And then when you're ready, release from the posture. And we're going to come into our grounding yoga nidra now. So I'm going to turn my camera off now. And I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes to get ready for the deep relaxation. So please get hold of pillows, bolsters, cushions, anything you want. Under your knees, maybe a cushion, under your head to lengthen the neck, maybe an eye pillow for the eyes, blankets to keep warm, obviously making sure that you won't be disturbed.